Hi there, it's Michelle from CNC Designs. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in New Zealand, and I'm here to bring you another Global Monthly Video Hop. So once a month, I team up with demonstrators from around the world, and we make projects using Stampin' Up! Items based on a theme. And this month's theme is Easter, because that's coming up soon. And in the description below my video, you will see links to all the other participants this month for the video hop. So please, after watching my video, look at the description, click on some of those links, and hop over to the other demonstrators' videos to get more inspiration for your Easter projects. I will also list in the description below all the products that I used with the product codes. So if you wish to purchase any, it makes it easy to do so because you have the codes right there. If you're in New Zealand and don't already have a demonstrator, I'd love it to be yours. And you can go to my website, michellekritchley.stampinup.net, and order directly from there, or find links to other items and things that I sell and other videos, etc. I also have a blog, papercraftaddiction.blogspot.co.nz. So I will show you the project that I did. I do tend to do things slightly differently. And this time around, I'm not actually using any Easter products per se. No Easter stamps or anything like that from Stampin' Up! I'm using a lot of dies and some new products that you can only find online. So I'm giving you a look at some of the online exclusives that are starting, I believe, on March 5th. Some of these products become available to everyone, and you can only view them by going to somebody's website. Mine is right there. And clicking to see the online exclusives. And the reason we have those is because some new products come out after catalogs have been created, and we aren't able to share them with you except for online because they won't be going into catalogs. And that way we have nice fresh products for you all the time, and you don't have to wait for the next annual catalog or the next mini catalog, etc. So you can kind of see my project here, but it doesn't really show very well this way. In fact, it almost looks like a cup with this shadow here. So I'm going to tip it up. Hopefully it won't all fall out. There we go. It's an Easter basket with the little bunny and some Easter chocolates, which are quite yummy. If you want to know, in case I forget to put that in the description, these yummy Easter chocolate eggs are Cadbury mini eggs. So I've already had a few, and they smell really good, really chocolatey. I put that in there because they fit this basket quite nicely. Now, none of these are traditional Easter products. As you can see, I don't even say Happy Easter on there. So you could make this for anything. You could, make it as a gift, take the handle off and turn it just into maybe a favor container for your table display. You could even have this if you have people over for Easter, their table display. You could put names on here, write them there, or put them across the front or across the back. So it could be a table place setting for you. So with this, I'm going to change it up slightly. So if you watched any of my other videos, I usually have my prototype, which I literally just finished this about 20 minutes ago. I had the idea in my head, but I've been very busy working, so I only just put it together. And I'm going to change it up slightly different colors on it. Now the idea I came up with that is sort of a turn on I think it was last year or maybe a couple years ago, my Easter project. So if you've been watching me for a while, you've seen what I'm going to show you now. If not, you should be able to look in my previous videos and find this one. So this is what I did, I think 1 or 2 years ago, I'm not sure. So for this one, the base was using the diorama dies. And then I'm not sure what stamp set, you'd have to watch the video, but stamped some grass and some die cut grass, but I made it look like an egg. So we've got the white outer and the yellow yolk, and that's a kiwi bird. So if you're not aware, if you're not from New Zealand, that's a native flightless bird here in New Zealand. their eggs are huge. But so I just put a little kiwi in there and just put the Happy Easter on that one. So I was thinking, I don't have any Easter stamp sets, any of the current ones, and I'm sure the other demonstrators will be showing you projects from those. So I want it to be different. And that's when I decided we'll do the basket. Now, the basket, the dies for the basket and the decorations, as I said, are non-traditional. So the basket itself, I used the Trusty Tools dies. Now that's in the current mini catalog that goes until April. And right here, I draw lines around there so I know where my dies go. That shaped die there is this one. And it's just a rectangle. And you can make it, use it to decorate toolboxes and other things. I may have shown some things last month in my video, some of the things I did with this set. So with that, that's how I made the sides to my basket. So what you need, we'll get started and I'll show you how I did it. So what you need is you basically need 2 pieces of whatever color that will fit this die. This die happens to be about 3.4. So if you did a 3.5 centimeter by about 9 centimeter piece of cardstock, you'd be able to cut one of these out. You need 2 of those. So I've already done that. I've got my 2. This time I'm using crumb cakes, making it more kind of a wooden basket. Then you also need for the handle just some scrap strips. Now I think this is, yeah, this is about 7.7 of a centimeter or 7 millimeters. And this is actually strip that's left over when I'm cutting my cardstock. So if I'm cutting the bases and things for cardstock, quite often you're left with little strips, and I always keep them. So that's one of those leftover strips. So it's the full length of an A4 piece. So it's 29.7 centimeters, and then it's just what was left over. So as I said, I think it's 0.7 of a centimeter, which would be 7 millimeters. So you might not use that whole bit, but that's going to be the handle plus some, and then another scrappy piece. So if you got more of that thickness, or this one here, this is about 1 centimeter by, doesn't matter how long, you'll see what we use it for. So just another piece, that's not going to be seen, that's going to be on the inside. Then you need a piece of white cardstock to stamp your bunny on. Now the bunny is from a new online exclusive set that is just getting released, called Pets and More. And this one, as you can see, lots of different animals. Got a bunny, a dog, bird, cat. I think that's a fox, which you wouldn't really have as a pet, or it might just be a different looking cat. But and these ones, see the shadowed out part? There aren't 2 stamps. These are reversible ones. So you stamp the detailed side, you turn it over, and you can stamp a colored outline. And the same with the extra little bits. You got a ball, which I guess the dog would chase, fish for the cat, a dish for any of them, I guess, and a paw print that could do all of them except for the bird, obviously. So there's no treats for the bird, I just realized. Huh. Anyway, so that stamp set is just going to be online only. You can only see it online. And as you can see, there's all the stamps. We're going to be using the bunny, and I'm going to show you the reverse stamping idea there. The other thing, for the base, I've already pre-cut my circle. Now I used the Deckled circle dies, and so if you're looking at here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th one from the center is the one that I used. Any size, you could do a bigger base if you want, but that's the base that happens to fit the sides of the basket I made. So that could be bigger. You could even go with your diorama dies if you still have those, and make, you know, different shape base for it. And then another online exclusive die that I used is from the Garden Meadow die set. So here's the Garden Meadow dies. And there's also a stamp set that can be used that you can get online as well. So that's the Garden Meadow stamp set. Some of these dies cut things out, like I think we've got the watering can, the boots, the basket, the trowel and fork. I think there might be one for the fence. But then there's some other detailed ones that cut different things out. Oh, and the wheelbarrow cuts out. So there's some others that cut things that don't match up with the stamps. And I'm using one of them that does grass. And this one does like a grassy mound as well. And then that does like a hedge kind of look. So I'm going to show you how to use that one. And then I'm going to do a different colored bunny. So on my bunny here, I use the bubble bath. So that's a bubble bath bunny. And I'm going to do the lemon lolly bunny this time. And then some embellishments were the adhesive back hearts and flowers. So I've already used the red and pink ones for my original one. And I'm going to use the white and blue, if I remember. And then some thread. So for the edges, you might not have noticed, they're actually sewn together. So I can't tip it too much. There you go. So there's the thread. Now that thread is left over. I colored the white thread last month. And I think I showed it in my video from last month. So last month's Global Monthly Video Hop. Because you get the twine. It's the baker's twine. And you can get it in a set with 5 colors. So if you don't have the color that you want, you can use your Stampin' Blends, which is an alcohol-based pen, just to color over the white and get a different color thread. That's what I did last month, and I had this thread left over. So I had extra thread left over, and I did it on there. For this one, I'm just going to go with the black thread. Or maybe I should go with the brown. No, I'll go with black so it stands out. And that grassy die I showed you. So there's the grassy die. And this die just cuts out the top of the grass. So, and it cuts it out in kind of a wiggly mound look. And this is what happens when you die cut it. So as you can see, that's my scrap from my circle. So when you die cut it, it doesn't actually cut all the way off the edge, and it doesn't cut anything below. It just cuts through. So if I wanted, I could even put this on a card and put some dimensionals under this and just give it kind of a 3D look, looking like that. But I'm going to snip it off and use it in sections around the basket. But doing it this way, the negative, or the part that you normally wouldn't use, is actually quite good if you turn it over. That looks like grass as well. So I'm going to use both sides of that, and I'm just going to cut just a small section below just to give me a little area to glue onto the side of my basket. So this die, I just want you to be aware, it doesn't cut all the way through. So if I went edge to edge, it would cut off, but it doesn't. And the same can be said for this line here. It's only going to cut the top part off. So it makes it good, like if you're doing a card base, you could have edge to edge, like a mountain and grass. And the same with this hedge one. I can show you that one in a second. I did try that one out on some paper to have a look at that. So this was when I was trying it out with the old olive. So that's that other die. And so I could just cut maybe a straight line on there and put it at the base of a card. But you can see how it does it. Cuts the top edge and gives you some interesting cutouts in the center, the hedges. But there's no bottom cut off, so you can have it as long or as short as you want. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, let's create the basket. So I'm going to curve these pieces. Oh wait, no, I want to score them. So I don't know if you noticed on my basket, there's some score lines. So it looks like there's planks. See those little score lines? So I'm going to score these two pieces. And if you have a scoreboard, you could do that, or you can do it on your trimmer, which I now don't know where I put, so I will find it. So here's my trimmer. It also has a scoring tool on it. So I'll show you a couple different ways to score with, depending on what tools you have. So for this, I want to have lines between each of the circles. So I'm going to end up with 3 lines. So I'm going to line it up where I can see the groove between the circles. So this is where it's going to score, right where that groove is. And making sure you're using the scoring end, not the dark cutting end. Just line it up where you want it to be, hold it down, and just rub over it a couple times, and you get that line. So I'm going to do that on here. You might have a scoreboard you could use if you don't have this tool, but this is such a handy tool to have for the scoring and the trimming, especially if you do a lot of projects. So see how I've got that all scored? Now another idea, if you don't have that, is get your pick a tool. So the pick a tool has different ends that you can just twist off. And one end it comes with is stylus, so a small one and a large one. You put it in there, line up the little line, and once it goes in, twist it to stay put. And then just placing your cardstock on something flexible, soft, like maybe an old mat from your computer mouse, or I like to use the Stampin' Up, I forgot the name of this mat. I'll remember it later. Typical. So on that mat, then just place your cardstock, get your ruler, silicone mat. There we go. Knew it would come to me. Okay, put your ruler between the circles, so hopefully you can see that. I don't know if I can zoom in. Let's see. Oh, there you go. Aha. So the ruler's between the circles, and I'm using the, oh, where is it? Using the small stylus head, and just press up and down, and then go to the next one between the next circles, press up and down, and the next circles. So there's a few ways you can do things if you don't have all the tools that I'm using today, but if you need any of them, contact a demonstrator. And so let me zoom back out. There we go. So there we go. So I've got them scored. This one's done with the stylus, and this was done on the trimmer. Okay. Now that they're scored, we're going to curve them with our bone folder because we're making a basket. So just gently give them a bit of a curve. It's easier to do this now than later. And another one, gentle curve. Okay. Now, if you don't want to do the threading like I did, just put a bit of glue there and glue them in place, and they can be held in place like that. Also, it can be helpful while you're sewing to do that as well. So I will just put, you just got to be light on your glue because you don't want it to ooze out everywhere. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue there. Just a little bit of glue there, and we can just glue them together to hold them in place. My original one I didn't bother, I just held them in place and stitched through. So there you go. You can just leave it like that if you like, but I like the effect of having the stitching. So again, I'll show you another way to do this in case you don't have needle and thread. I mean, well, you'd have the thread, but if you don't have a needle, I'm just going to thread my needle. And I do embroidery, so I do have lots of needles. I quite like stitching. And again, if you saw last month's video, you'd see that I did have something in there that I sewed. I did some stitching on using the Trusty Tools dies. Of course, trying to thread a needle on video doesn't always work. Okay, got it threaded. So I like to, because I don't know how much I want to use, I just leave it on the spool. So coming from behind, come up, go down, very simple, up and down. Okay. Now you don't want to have a lot of thread, so you just want to gently pull it so you only have a little bit left over in the end. I'll pull my needle off. And you just want to have a little bit left over on the end there, and then just gently pull it so just see that little bit sewn through. You could go back and sew over and have it sewn all the way through, you know, back and forth if you want, but this is the way I prefer to do mine. And then I'm going to trim off that bit. You don't want a lot hanging over. But you got to be careful, don't pull your thread through while you're trimming it. And then get your tear and tape. And we're going to put tear and tape to hold it down. When you're holding down the thread, if you fray the ends a bit, it makes it flatter, and also there's more for it to, the tape to hold on to. So I'm going to tear my tape to the size I want. And then just put the tape over these bits here. Go. Okay, now I'm not going to peel that off yet. You'll see why in a minute. I've got a reason for it. Just trim that little bit off. Made it a bit too long, so I'll just trim that off. Okay. And now I'm going to do the thing to the other side. So now you got to make sure you curved it enough. If you haven't, you might need to do the bone folder to do the other side. Now I could just hold it in place, or I could do like I showed you and have a little bit of glue just to hold it down. Now if you get too much glue out, I use the tip to spread the glue around. So I'm not actually squishing more glue out, I'm just spreading the glue around with the tip. Second side is a little bit more difficult because it's already curved. Now I'll show you another tip. If you don't have a needle, so if you're not into sewing, don't have a needle, that's okay. I'll show you on this one, but I won't do this one up. Use tape. So what you do is you take a little bit of tape, just regular tape, take a piece of regular sellotape, stick it to the end of your thread, and then just roll it around your thread. So you want the thread to get caught in it, but you just roll around the sellotape. So I'm just rolling it around the thread over the tape. It's a little hard to get started, but then it gets better. And so that's going to hold the tape at the bottom. Well, that's going to hold the tape at the bottom. And then the top, you can just twist it. Give it a good twist. Twist it, twist it, twist it in your fingers. And essentially, you now have a needle top. So I could just go like this and thread that straight through. And that's what I did. I was practicing before, but I don't want to use this color. And then when you're done, you just pull the tape off of it. But I'm just going to use my needle since I have it here. So again, from the inside and back through, inside and back through. Now, as I said before, you could fill it all in. If you wanted to, you could just go back and forth, and then once you get to the top, come through. And if you do it this way, I'll just show you what it looks like. Back through, and then up top. And so that way, it's all laced. And this way, it's only every couple months. So the easiest way for me to take out what I didn't want is just to pull the needle out and just pull it out that way. And then I'm just going to gently pull that so I have a little bit on each end and tape it down like I showed you before. So we're just going to have a little bit here and tape that down. I'll put my needle somewhere safe. So I want the ends to be frayed slightly so it'll hold better. And this one might be a little trickier because I'm going inside. So I find it easier to tear the tape off first. And then I just want to fold those bits over. So I'm folding the thread over and just going to tape it. The reason I'm not using glue is one, the Tombow glue that we have gets tacky if it's left to dry, and then the inside would be all tacky and sticky. The other reason is, one, I'd get glue all over my fingers, and that ribbon and thread doesn't always take to glue. Now see how loose that side is? I'll just pull this off. I can pull the tape down and just tighten that a bit. So I must have not had it down enough when I put the tape on. There, that's tighter now. Okay. And I'm just going to snip my excess off. Then we'll move on to the rest. So I've only got a little bit of stamping for this project. You could do more stamping, like my project from the previous year, there was much more stamping. So that's our circle, and see that fits nicely there. Now you're probably thinking, how does it fit there? We will see in a minute. So first of all, let's get our grass going. So I'm going to snip off the part where the grass didn't come all the way off. And as I said, I'm going to use both sides of it. So for this one here, I'm just going to cut it, you know, maybe half a centimeter to a centimeter below where I see the grass is sticking up. And I'm just going to cut kind of the shape that I see. And any extra I can cut off later, so that's fine. So now I have what looks like a couple different grassy shapes, and see, that could make a really interesting card. But I don't want it all going like that, coming into the side, because there it would be coming up high on the side and coming in, which I don't want. So I'm just going to snip between some of the grass and this mound. That's probably not too bad. Depends on how high I want the grass up. I don't really want it to be that high, so I'm going to cut again, cutting sections. The previous one I used 6 sections, so this one I think I will cut, I think I will cut it up to there, and then cut this more around. Might have more sections on this one. So it's just your preference how you want it to sit. So here, I'll cut that there. You'll see the method to my madness in a minute. So now I'm going to glue the grass on. Now I don't want to hide my beautiful stitching, so I'm going to glue the grass in a way that it might come together and not completely hide my stitching. So you just kind of put your grass in place in different areas to see what looks okay. So I kind of like the look of that, and then I'm going to come around the edge there. So once you figure out where you want your grass to go, put a little, oh, supposed to be a little bit of glue. and glue it down, and then work your way around your project. So that looks fine to me. I'm just going to hold it for a second. That's the nice thing with Tombow glue. You hold it for a second and it stays put. Oh yeah, one other thing I forgot is to curve the grass a bit. It makes it easier to go on if you give it a bit of a curving. Now I'm not going to cut the bottoms off until I figure out where I want it to be. And that's why this die is quite nice, because you can have different heights and sizes of your grass. Oop, that one ripped, so that's kind of determined. But that's okay, because I can use it anywhere I want. I can have lots of layers on my basket. Okay. So that one's there. What else have we got? I was thinking maybe this one could come over here. Yep, I'm liking that. So we'll put some glue there. And then just tuck that in a bit. So I've got bits hanging off the bottom, which is fine because I'm going to cut that off later on. You'll see. You just want things to hang over edges and look like it sort of belongs. Now that one goes up too high there. So I'm going to fix that by trimming that right there. So I could maybe put this one in here. And I just want to see what would go next. It's a good idea to plan all your pieces out before you glue them all down. Because this one, the grass is all kind of sort of going the wrong way. That one could go there. So I'm going to pause the camera and go off camera and figure out where I want my grass to go and then come back. Okay, so I got the grass on. So I've got it all the way around and covering, some of it's overlapping. So when you have it the way you want it to be, you just simply need to trim off the excess. So turning it over, you can just trim along up to the brown. If you have a blade, or if you have the new craft tools for the pick a tool, you could just put it on a craft mat and slice around there. But I'm just going slowly around the edge, just cutting the green off, which is all falling on the floor. Need something to clean up later on. And just around the base of the basket. There we go. So there's my grassy basket completed. Now we just need to do sticking it on. So there we go. So we got it all there. It's going to stick on here. So how does it stick down? You may be wondering. Aha, that's where our extra bits come in. So first of all, this is going to be our handle. Might be longer than we need, so I'm just going to give it a nice curve. Give it an idea of how handle-like I want it to be. So that is going to be quite tall. Now, we want one bit at the bottom bent over, because that's going to help glue things down. And we're going to put some tape just on there. I'll cut off the excess in a minute, once I figure out how much excess I want. So I'm going to put some tape just on the part that I've folded down. Tear that off. Oops, sorry. Peel that off. Now I'm going to hold that back. Try not to stick on anything. And remember the tape that we put on the side there? And I said we'll pull that off later. So we're going to pull that off now. So pull that tape off there. So now we got that sticky showing. Taking the handle, making sure it's the right way up. That little folded bit is going to line up to the bottom. See, line up right to the bottom. And the rest of it's going to overlap on that tape that we had hiding our thread, holding our thread down. There we go. And now this is where we decide how tall we want our basket handle. We could have it really tall or we could have it shorter. Okay, I think that looks about right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to peel off the tape on here. Now if you don't have nails like I do, you can use your scissors or your pick a tool and just gently press against the edge of the tape and see it peels up back quite easily. Okay, so that tape's doing double duty. It's holding our threads in place, but it's also going to hold our handle. So now, without touching the tape yet, put your handle as far as you want it to be. So looking at the size of your handle, I think that looks probably good. Then you just want to line that up onto the tape, which should be the exact width. And then, see, we have our extra at the bottom. We don't need that much. So one, we want to fold the edge right where the bottom's going to be. And then we'll just trim off because we don't need that big of a piece. So we'll just trim off some of it and put tape on that part. Where'd my tape? There it is. So we'll put tape on that part there. So didn't need to peel the top off the other. Didn't need to peel that one off yet, but that's okay. It's off now. And while we have this, before I peel the other parts off, we're going to put 2 on these sides to hold it down. So the extra bit you have left over, you could use that or you could use this piece. You don't need a lot. You just need to hold it in place. Hopefully nobody's going to pick up the whole thing and you're going to have heavy stuff in it. So this one here, I'm just going to cut it in half. I'm going to put tape on the whole side of it. What's left? Could have taped it before I cut it. Didn't really matter because I'm going to use both halves. So this is as much, this is just the leftover. So it all depends on how tall you want your basket to be. Now, before you pull the tape, the back off the tape, fold it in half. Get yourself a nice crease. And I got glue on my fingers, so it's a bit sticky. Another nice crease. Then go ahead and peel off your tape. And this is going to give us more support on the other sides. So opposite sides to where you've already got bits, you want one of these to go right up to the edge. And then the other one, if I can find it, same thing. Opposite to that one, where the fold is, just right up to the edge. Doesn't have to be exact, but close enough, okay? So once you've got all 4 of those done, then you want the tape off the bottom of everything. Make sure they're all bent inwards. You don't want them to stick before you're ready. So if you bend them all inwards, then take your basket and stick it where you want on your base. So it could be centered however you like. And then you can just push those down with your fingers or your bone folder. Okay, so use your bone folder just to push it down. That's why you want to make sure you take the tape off all 4 of them before you put it down, because if you get 1 or 2 stuck down and you haven't taken the backing off the other tape, you will have problems. Okay, there you go. Now if you want, you could cut a smaller circle to drop in there to cover the base, you know, if you wanted to cover up the bottom of the basket. I believe I did that in my other one, although the circle wasn't quite big enough to cover the whole thing. And I did the circle before I figured out about gluing those edges down. So, or you can leave it because nobody's really going to look in there, hopefully. Now we just need to decorate, so we need a bunny. So here's our new bunny from the Pets and More set. So with these stamp sets, like the usual sets, you have one of the photopolymer, you have the grooves in one side and the other side is smooth. Normally you put the groove side down You put your block on top of it, pick it up, and then stamp. So we're going to do that with black. So we're just going to do Memento black. Ink up the bunny. There's no dies for this, but they're easy shapes, so they're easy to cut out. And we're just going to stamp our bunny in black. And then we need to clean our bunny. Otherwise, we'll get dirty fingers for the next part. So, want to clean the bunny. This is my Simply chamois that's just been used a lot, so it's quite stained. But the ink doesn't come back on the stamp, it stays on the chamois. Okay, now, once you have that done, peel off your stamp. This time, the side that has the groove, the side that you just stamped, is going to face up. That's the part with the groove on it. And the flat side is going to be facing down. So now we stick it on there. And some of you might have done, I think most people that have been stamping for ages have done that before, accidentally put the stamp on the wrong side, and then they just stamped a big dark blob. Well, that's basically what we're going to do, but because the stamp is the exact shape, same shape as what we stamped, we're going to give ourselves color. Sometimes stamps, the back shape doesn't actually match up with the front shape, the detailed shape. So for this one, I thought we'd go with Lemon Lolly. I know around here bunnies are either white or brown, but it's Easter, we can do what we want. So now I've inked up. This is the back side of that stamp, and it's made for this reason. So now I'm trying to line it up on camera, which is not as easy done. You really want to have your head right over the stamp when you do this. And there you go. So now I have a yellow bunny. Now you could do it the reverse way, which we'll do it right now. So you could do it this way. Oop. That's a blemish on there. You could stamp it, the solid part first. And then clean it off. Now I'm cleaning it off because otherwise I'm just going to get ink all over me when I pick it up. Clean it off. This time that's the smooth side. Put the smooth side up because now we want the detail. So now I've got the side with the grooves. You can feel the grooves, the detailed side. And now we're going to stamp it in black. So sometimes it's easier to do the black and then the color over it. Other times it's easier to do the outline and then the detail, because now I can see, sort of, where I'm stamping. So it's hard to do on camera because you really need to be right over the top of what you're stamping. Let's see if that comes out. I don't want to put my head in the camera. There we go. So either way, you can do it. Oh, sorry. There goes a chocolate. No, not the chocolate. The Easter bunny is not going to be happy. Okay. So those are two different ways that you can do it, and all the stamps in this set are that way. So you only get the stamps shown in black, but they can be turned over and you can get a solid image the other way. So that's why it's showing like this, and that's considered a reversible stamp. So for this one, we need to fussy cut it out and put it onto our basket. So as I said, it's quite easy to fussy cut. I think I like that look better. And we're just going to, if I line them up perfectly, I'll have a double-sided bunny, but maybe I won't. I don't know. My other sample I'll show you in a minute. I tried two different colors on it. I wasn't sure which color I wanted. I tried petal pink, and then I went with the bubble bath, because petal pink is more of an orange pink, not a pink. And I don't know where they come up with the idea of these color bunnies for Easter, but I guess it's supposed to be springtime. But here in New Zealand, it's actually autumn. We just had a hot summer's just finishing up. Having rain today, which is quite good. But we're going into autumn, so it's a couple days ago was the first day of autumn here in New Zealand. And even though I've lived here for 27 years, I'm still getting used to different weather at different times. Not so much like the summer, etc., but I mean, the winter and all that. It's when it's Christmas, because it's hot and sunny and it's summertime. Although I lived in Hawaii, so I was kind of used to that, but it would get dark. But here, you don't get a dark night for Christmas because it's summer. So there's a bunny, and oh yeah, almost perfectly double-sided him. Okay. So now the bunny, I'm going to give him a bit of curve as well because he's going to be sitting in front of a curved basket. And I'm going to give him some dimensionals. Now I could take my pens and color some extra color on them and that kind of thing might be nice. So I'm just going to pop a couple mini dimensionals on him. And this is good to hide any mistakes maybe you did on the grass or the basket. You can pop your bunny over the areas that you want to hide. Now I'm not putting anything on his ears because they should be sticking up outside the basket. So here's the bunny. Let's have a look at our basket. What doesn't look really good? The other thing is you could always, I think I'll put him right here. You could always put some grass in front of the bunny as well. So I'm just going to stick him right there. And then you could go overboard, lots of blemishes and embellishments and things. But I'm just going to do some simple little floral ones. And just going to use my scissors to, these are already adhesive backed. So I'm just going to do some yellow and blue ones, white ones. So finding one of the grass stems, I'm just going to pop that right up like it looks like that's the stem of the flower. And let's find other ones are short, so we'll go with a short blue one. And we'll just pop that guy over there. Could put some down on the grass as well if I want it. And I'm just going to go around and keep doing that. So let's get a white one, maybe just about there. And let's do a big blue one. All these big grass bits here, we'll put a big blue one right there. Yeah, so that's probably good enough. And there's our little Easter basket. I got our bunny, and we got some stitching decoration, some floral decorations. Could maybe put a butterfly or something on there. And what we need to do is put some eggs in our basket so we have something to eat. I won't fill it up too much because they'll fall. And there you go. So I hope you enjoyed that little tutorial on how to make an Easter basket using a non-Easter product. So you can see I did one handle really tall and one not so tall. So you got the stitching, and the base of it is actually all except the bunny are dies. So we've got the dies for the basket, extra strips for the handles, dies for the grass, dies for the base circle. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you have a lovely, happy Easter. And then that's the one, if you look at my other videos from a year or two ago, I'm not sure when I did this one, shows you how to make an egg looking one. And that's fairly simple, but that one has far more stamping on it. So happy Easter. Make sure you look in the links below. Click on to the videos for the other demonstrators to get more inspiration for your Easter projects. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.